Hello everyone, we're going to go down the rabbit hole once again. Quant QNT and Ripple XRP, Fednow. Yes, you read that right, you heard that right. You know, I'm not the first person to talk about, for example, Fednow, and we've done enough outlines when it comes to Ripple XRP, Stellar XLM, HBAR, but not so much about Quant. So why am I including Quant with, of course, Ripple XRP? You're going to want to stick around and hear some of these particular connections. Smash the like if you haven't done so already. Consider sticking to the end of the outline if you choose to do so. And if anything, if you don't have time, there is chapters. You can watch this in 2x speed. But nonetheless, let's jump into the material. So starting things off, let's jump over to actually the Federal Reserve site. And like you see right here, the Federal Reserve in itself has this. And what does it mention? Well, some people are going to say this is a stretch, but plain as day, right at the front page of frbservices.org, we see APIs in action. Now check this out. This gets really interesting because as we jump over to this particular YouTube listing, what do you notice on your screen? Unlisted. Oracle, Fednow, SM Service Provider Showcase. How many times have we talked about, for example, Quant and, for example, Oracle being part of that ecosystem, and more in particular, the big news about JP Morgan joining Oracle's ecosystem. So interesting to see all these particular connections, but more importantly, this unlisted video. Let's jump into the significance of this, and if anything, tie in all the particular connections and why it matters. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We'll be right back. Here we go.
Oracle Banking Payments. The global payments landscape is rapidly evolving to meet the modern payment needs of a hyper-connected world. Oracle Banking Payments is built from the ground up on ISO 20022, thereby giving banks a head start in transitioning seamlessly to modern payments scheme or network and leverage the inherent benefits of better access to data, harmonization across the payments lifecycle, and improved analytics. Oracle's comprehensive payments processing construct is characterized by an enterprise payments processing platform that can process all types of payments ranging from ACH to real-time to high-value payments across schemes such as SWIFT, Fedwire and NACA. A product built for real-time, be it payments initiation, payments processing, notification or confirmation, and liquidity cash position views and seamless straight-through processing. An application ready to be deployed as part of a larger ecosystem of fintechs, payment service providers and other financial institutions. Oracle Banking Payments is an enterprise payments hub, offers out-of-box support for major global instant payment rails and schemes such as India IMPS, UPI, SEPA Credit Transfer, US RTP, China NAPS, BEPS and Hong Kong FPS. It can be used to process transactions and messages from multiple payment schemes and messages. Support for new payment schemes can be seamlessly added through a network configurator. This allows rapid onboarding for network-specific guidelines and message formats. Oracle Banking Payments supports end-to-end processing of outgoing and incoming instant payments. Oracle's reference architecture for payments transformation encompasses a larger framework that a financial institution uses for payments processing, such as integration with market feeds and bureaus, pre-integration with banking business services such as lending and liquidity management, insights, and KYC-driven integration with third-party systems or billing and pricing applications. Oracle's payment application allows payment customers of a bank to rapidly initiate transactions through multiple digital channels, allow corporate customers of a bank to upload bulk payment files through their ERP systems, or even allow operations users of a bank to manually input and execute payment transactions through UI screens. Language options are plenty, and customers can choose to set up their screens in a variety of languages including English, Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic and French, to name a few. Customers have a single view of all their accounts and payables by way of intuitive, actionable dashboards. There's always the option to easily manage multiple payees, along with configurations around whether payments would be made account to account, wallet to wallet, or via mobile to account. An example being the Unified Payments Interface in India. The operations user of a bank can view and set up bulk files for processing according to a predetermined schedule. There are options for setting up cutoff times, anticipated time frame for execution of batches, as well as defining the network preferences. Further, these users can query and view the validations and options provided by the end user for bulk file processing. The corporate file browser allows the bank user to pull up a list of all bulk files that are in various stages of processing and also upcoming ones. Oracle Banking Payments allows mixed payloads for bulk file processing, including book transfers, RTGS, cross-border, and ACH types of processing. It allows easy configurability for batch cutoff times as well as auto closures, setting up differential pricing based on customer type and debit and charge claim preference management. Oracle Banking Payments allows bank users and customers to seamlessly drill down to payment types for a quick view, as well as enable real-time visibility into payment transactions. The input screen for an outbound payment transaction confirms to global instant payments schemes, including specific capabilities around U.S. RTP such as instruction identification and creditor management details. Bank users can also utilize the RTP request to pay screen to set up an RTP mandate with identified debtors and set up specific instructions associated with it. Oracle Banking Payments is available on an on-premise model or even as a payments as a service model for the U.S. market, so banks have the flexibility to leverage the best possible model to suit their requirements. In summary, Oracle is your answer to payments transformation.
So some key things to get into in regards to this and why, of course, matters. So in that video, you saw something in regards to harmonization, right, of messaging. And more in particular, you saw some other things, SEPA, right? But back to the topic of Oracle. Check this out, just in case you are new to all of this. We're going to bring up this particular screen straight from the Quant network. And what do you see plain as day? Oracle, more importantly, is the world's largest database management company offering software technology, cloud engineered systems, and enterprise software products. Our partnership enables Quant, yes, Quant, to benefit from Oracle's expertise in product and marketing, as well as their world-class mentoring program and curriculum, engaged with their global base of more than 430,000 customers, and be a part of a thriving startup community of inspired technology experts. Quant will do what? Plain as day. Yeah, you see it. Will facilitate Oracle's drive, cloud-based innovation, and business growth. Doesn't say, well, it could possibly. It says plain as day, it will. Going more into this, check this out. Straight from the horse's mouth, the one and only, the legend, Gilbert Verdian. He says, well done, Luke Riley, for demoing with Oracle a live integration of Overledger with Oracle blockchain platform to enable interoperability and token swaps of digital assets. Universal interoperability, by the way, right? We're always talking about the things like the RLN, Regulated Liability Network. People feel as though that is your universal ledger, if you will, but look what it says: blockchain, Oracle startup, and also Hyperledger. Don't forget the part about Hyperledger, because we are going to talk more about Ripple XRP here in a bit. So what's crucial for your understanding is, yes, this is an old citation, but who was literally at this event? I think it's wrapped up, if I'm not mistaken. Might still be going on, give or take. I'm not there, but the point is, Dr. Luke Riley. Yeah, EBA days 2024. So all of this is aging extremely well. But let's get into some of the visuals and why it really matters. So as you can see right here, as I blow this up, let's take you over to some key areas. Because what you'll see is demo example, airline loyalty program. Man, does this get ever good. Let's blow it up even that much more. Because as you can see right here, some key things, right? You see how you have the issuance of tokens, but more importantly, it's understanding how it all really comes together. Flight travel, airline managers, car rentals, you name it. But the exchange of some of this in regards to you know, other particular assets, the redemption of loyalty tokens and so on. But get this, as we jump back to the next particular slide, what do you also see? Well, you see Overledger and how it plays a factor in regards to all this. Let's blow this up even that much bigger on the other screen, because you see cross-ledger interoperability leveraging what? Quant networks. And as we see right below Ethereum blockchain, we see Oracle connecting to what? The Overledger. More in particular, what does it show here? Oracle token contract kicking over to escrow, kicking over to what? Overledger, and flowing back and forth. But again, write service, read service, search service, subscription service. People are saying QNT token won't be used. You know, yeah, it won't be used at all. Okay. Anyway, been there, done that. But look at what it also says. You have these sample scenarios of cross DLT asset ownership, these swaps with cancellation and even rollbacks. But again, everybody, dual DLT logging, and more importantly, Overledger solution from Quant Networks available for OBP and deployed in Oracle Cloud. And what does it say in regards to the middleware? Middleware that enables interoperability across OBP, Corda, Quorum, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin, Stellar, IOTA, etc., etc., etc. That is crucial for your understanding. As we get more into this, check this out. Here's the other particular one, because you guys want to see stuff from Dr. Luke Riley. And here is his particular reference that's also really good to get into. So Dr. Luke Riley, long ago, and even more up to date at EBA Days 2024. Again, this old citation, but pounding it home once again. And what do you see literally written into code? You see plain as day Oracle escrow contract. And more importantly, you see, for example, how it all comes together, that particular payload, and seeing success. Right, all written into that. And what do we see? Utopian Airlines, escrow. Again, that's just one of thousands of use cases. Getting more into what we have, let's jump back to the other screen and pulling up this next particular slide. Again, what do you see? I think we just shared that one earlier, but I want to put a little bit more emphasis on this. You see another great example of this summary, because on top right it says asset specifications, and you see plain as day Oracle blockchain platform, Hyperledger fabric, and even orchestrating it again back to the references on the previous screens with, for example, the Overledger. So we understand that in, you know, was it March of 2022, there was Overledger 2.0, and it did the upgrade in regards to Hyperledger fabric. So we already been there. We already done that. What else do we have in regards to some of these particular connections? Well, shout out to San NL, great researcher. It's been a while since I cited Sam, but shout out to you again, sir. He says in this new report, because you guys want some of the new stuff, I get it, right? New report, September 10th, 2024. You know, in reality, just not even what, a few days ago, a week ago. Oracle blockchain, once again, what do we see here for the first time? SATP adoption, and more importantly, Oracle is fully QNT vision pilled. What a statement. Central banks are fully SATP pilled. Government's starting to get SATP pilled, but it's just a quant standard. All right, well, guess what? This is a good analogy. I like some of his humor in this. This is good. We all need a little humor, right? So, as you see in the illustration, top middle, commercial money, deposit tokens with a ledger, digital assets, kicking it down to, for example, what you see here in regards to Internet Engineering Task Force, SATP, and again, what you see in regards to cross-ledger. You have Ethereum, you have Polygon, and again, all these are examples of what works with the Overledger, but more importantly, kicking up to ISO 222, and you have real-time gross settlements, SWIFT, the whole shebang. But here's the cool thing. What do you also see that's listed? You see Oracle blockchain platform, Hyperledger fabric. I mean, again, do you not see how this is all orchestrated, and more importantly, how it all flows with the unified ledger framework? All right, so getting into the next part, what we have is this citation straight from the Quant network from Indeed. I keep calling it Indeed, LinkedIn, right? I have too many jobs, three jobs, 7 days a week. Sometimes you forget what platforms you're on, right? So Quant Network, it says, while the UK has focused on leading the payments race, this was posted, what, 3 weeks ago, European banks have been delivering innovation in other areas such as customer experience. I cited this before. I want to pound it home again. However, the focus on front-end improvements has left European banks on the back foot when it comes to transitioning to, of course, instant payments. In our latest article, we explore what it means for European banks and how the UK can keep its lead. And what do you see? Plain as day in that citation that I'll take you over to here in a bit. SEPA, instant payments, why banks need to act now. Basically, Quant. And again, that call to action. And I shared this with you before, but I didn't share this particular area. Let's put some emphasis on this. And I do apologize. I wish I could make it bigger. Quant Network website has some issues when I blow it up too big, and I want this to flow nicely. So getting back into the material, preparing for an operational overhaul. Think about that, guys. When we talk about the flip of the switch, you have to have a major overhaul first. Do you not? You have to literally rebuild the infrastructure. You have to scale up that infrastructure. Look what it says. We know that updating bank end systems and processes will be a gradual process. True, mostly due to the bureaucratic inertia large banks face, but also because catching up to instant payments requires an overhaul of a bank's entire infrastructure. It must consider operations, IT, compliance, and product. And aside from technology pressures, the transition will also do what? Require rethinking of staffing. Remember how we talked about working groups and stuff like that? Well, it goes on to mention, including the introduction of around-the-clock shifts and faster operational pace, a change that could signify, or significantly, I should say, disrupt, yes, the disruptors, everybody, of the current banking culture that employees have become accustomed to. But what we're all asking, you may be in your car listening to this. You may be the guy that's working all day and you listen to Maximus Crypto. Shout out to all you guys that do that. And you're just wanting to get some of that news as you're listening, multitasking. But we're all asking this common question, everybody. What is next for banks? Well, the European Union's move to accelerate the adoption of instant payments in Europe puts pressure on banks that haven't yet implemented instant payments to assess their readiness to comply and prepare for the upcoming implementation. There is less, yes, call to action once again, everybody, less than a year to go before the go live. So we expect banks have already begun significantly ramping up investment in their IT infrastructure and human resources to prepare for this change. What is the reference without even saying it? It's the mandate. That's the real true go live. Technically, we are live, but that mandate is a different story when it comes to ISO 222. And yes, people say Quant's ISO TC 307, but you understand how that orchestrates and complements the ISO 222 system, and you understand, again, the bigger picture. Jumping over to what we have from the Federal Reserve, the citation from frbservices.org, financial services, Fednow organizations. Why is this important? Because you're going to see a couple ones basically listed here. BNY Mellon, and of course also Fiserv. As I jump over to here, I want you to understand the citation from BNY Mellon, because what do you see in regards to certified service providers? And more importantly, updated as in July 22nd, 2024. Well, what you see here in regards to specifically BNY Mellon and this other one I'm going to get into is only the key areas of, receive and send and receive. You know, when we talk about messages, but it's also the whole thing in regards to RFP. And if you're wondering about RFP, like what does it basically mean? RFP on the Fednow side refers to a financial institution's ability to accept a request for payment. Okay, that's really crucial for your understanding moving forward. As we get more into this, I want you guys to understand BNY Mellon meets 3 out of 4 of these particular criterias. Doesn't hit the one for liquidity management transfer, and we'll get into that, you know, why that's significant here in a bit. But the other one I want you to have in regards to some specific, you know, understanding of why I'm pointing out is Fiserv solutions, right? And they meet 2 of these in regards to receive only and send and receive. As I jump more into this, back to Gilbert Verdian, I always citate this, but again, I want to pound it home for the new people. Understand that Gilbert Verdian is part of the Federal Reserve Fed Payments Improvement Community, 2018 to present. More importantly, as you get more into this, check out the significance of this. Because as you can see here, what's important is he is a member of the European Blockchain Observatory. He's the chairman of the BSI on distributed ledger technologies and the Federal Reserve Fed Payments Improvement Community, and also previously a member of the Federal Reserve Secure Payments Task Force. Again, the Secure Payments Task Force. As we get more into it, you will also see, like I've always cited before and numerous others, he founded, of course, the ISO Standard Technical Committee of ISO TC 307 and is a convener of the Interoperability Working Group WG7 for ISO. Again, these statements like conveners, orchestrators, it all simply makes sense. As we get more into it, I highly recommend, maybe possibly looking into this book. I should talk. It is on my list of books to get. I wanted to point out to you guys because a lot of times you guys have asked me about publications literally written by Gilbert. Enterprise Security, Real Solutions to Today's Security Challenges. It's a paperback written all the way back in July 13th of 2011. But more importantly, in this publication from Gilbert Verdian, this particular book, it goes on to mention with this particular outline, it's a book about enterprise security and provides the solutions based on real-world examples to counter and protect against risks and threats. Again, written literally, 2 years after Bitcoin came out? The white paper and so on. So the book is about sizing up the company environment, evaluating risk level and tolerance, knowing the user community, investing wisely, and working from the within to develop, I should say, an information security program. Think about that for a second. That is realistic and measurable with real-world examples, simplified compliance requirements, and case studies. This book is guaranteed to invigorate and enhance the security program. In my opinion, this will literally give us a lot of little cool things about where he went back then to where Quant Network is now. And I thought I'd point that out for you. Let's jump into the next part of what is cool and worth pointing out. Fednow service 1 year in. We are 1 year in. And basically some people pointed out like, well, what's the big deal? Is there anything new? Well, this is posted September 3rd, 2024, but I want you to listen to some of the key things here and why we're going to point out some of this here in a bit, even with the whole thing of Ripple XRP. Let's play this 2.5 minutes and we'll come right back. Here we go.
The launch of the FedNow service was a milestone for the Federal Reserve. It's part of the new wave of payment innovation that is rapidly gaining steam across the industry. We started with 35 institutions, and 12 months later, our network has grown to more than 900. The 24/7, 365 availability to settle into a bank account gives businesses and consumers the ability to tap into instant clearing and settlement. Our goal, over time, is for instant payments to be ubiquitously available and broadly used. We're in this for the long haul and will remain dedicated to continually refining the service to meet the wide-ranging needs of institutions all across the country.
The innovation this year has been amazing to see. We've worked closely with the industry to make sure we're addressing the evolving needs of the payments ecosystem as we add features and functionality. One financial institution, through its partnership with a leading fintech, is giving businesses the opportunity to pay employees immediately after their work shift. Other institutions are enabling immediate account-to-account transfers for businesses and consumers, and are planning for instant loan repayments, insurance reimbursements, and so much more. Collaboration with financial institutions and industry groups has been at the forefront of the FedNow service since its inception.
The launch of the Fednow service last year was just the beginning. The Fednow service will continue to grow and evolve right alongside the industry. The innovative cloud-based technology platform gives us the flexibility to be responsive to user needs. It means the service is fully scalable, resilient, secure, and designed with the future in mind. In a 24/7 environment, We know managing risks around fraud and liquidity concerns is important, so we're adding new tools to help financial institutions and service providers manage these risks. Offering instant payment solutions is an opportunity to stay competitive and to meet the evolving needs of customers. No matter what size your institution or which customers you serve, it's important to not get left behind. Fednow is not the future, it is now.
Okay, so I just want to talk about that just for a brief bit. And basically, it's like this. Sometimes, and this is no knock on anybody, right? Sometimes we get tunnel vision when we hear the statements of cross-border payments. Sometimes people, when they hear about cross-border payments or on-demand liquidity and some of these particular statements, you think, like, oh, okay, well, I don't know if, that's so far out into the future. I mean, how's it going to really affect me now? Say what you want. Fednow would affect you now. How so? Well, just like you saw in the video, this is a huge plug-in connector. So many people realize, whether I do a video or the next guy who's a researcher, Fednow is just kind of like what it implies, now. But more importantly, payments now. Like, I don't want to wait 2 weeks to get paid. I work, as I said, 3 jobs, 7 days a week. I don't like that, but it's what I do. I'm trying to acquire more digital assets. I have to have that extra money to do that. So with that also said, I have, for example, one particular job pays me once a month. I have another particular job pays me, every other week. You guys could probably relate. Most of us don't have the luxury of every week, but even if everybody got paid every week, I think it's safe to say that we all would like to just get our money now, instantaneously, right? So when we talk about these digital assets, whether it's Ripple XRP or what Quant's tied into as well, right? Understand that it's the whole concept that you will be able to overhaul an entire system where people are going to have instant real-time payments. That's the bottom line, and everybody's affected by that, whether people really want to truly believe that or not. But more importantly, it's taking you over, of course, back to the topic, because we are talking about Quant, we are talking about Fednow, Ripple XRP as well. And I haven't talked a lot about that, but we're going to get into that. So let's jump into the next particular part of what I have and why it's significant. I'm going to take you over to this. And again, I just want people to understand where we're all basically going with this, because once you understand the bigger picture of it all, man, oh man, I mean, it gets extremely interesting, to say the least, because it makes you realize that, there's again a bigger picture. So what you saw briefly in that video was some key things, but this is something that I dug more deeper into, and I'm just going to simply take you over to there, back to the Fed Payments Improvement.org site. And why is this crucial for your understanding? Well, again, look what it says here. As we get further down, you will see a key term here in regards to, some of these key things. But man, I mean, look what it says. B2B e-remittance exchange pilot. It's been complete. Industry one step closer to achieving straight through processing. And again, think about some of these statements. More in particular, unmasking a synthetic identity fraud mitigation toolkit. I mean, what did we just talk about in the last deep dive for Quant? What's going on in regards to identity management? Federal Reserve has this whole thing about this toolkit as well, but again, understanding like some of the key things that this is all connected to, especially if you have Gilbert on this particular committee since 2017. And boy, oh boy, does it not get good. Look at this statement. Pioneers of now, continued adoption for instant payments. Say what you want. Internet Engineering Task Force. They're the pioneers of the internet. And more in particular, where we're going to from Web 2.5 to 3.0. So momentum for instant payment adoption and the Fednow service has continued across the industry as a number of participating financial institutions steadily basically grow. And that's where it's at for me. I mean, I want people to understand that there is like a huge, bigger picture here that a lot of us just simply don't really realize or never wrapped our minds around completely, right? So let me take you over to here. And man, oh man, remember how I mentioned the whole thing about BNY Mellon? This is going to get really, really good. So in this citation from fedpaymentsimprovement.org, you will see here, in pursuit of a better payment system, there's this thing called the Secure Payments Task Force, Secure Payments Task Force roster. That was updated back on September 22nd, 2017, but this is also going to age well. Why is that? Because you have steering committee members, and you see, for example, BNY Mellon, right? Now you may be wondering, okay, that's BNY Mellon, so what? You sure about the so what? Look at this. Who's also part of the Secure Payments Task Force? Yeah, watch this. This gets really, really good. You see Gilbert Verdian, plain as day, on that list. And back then, there's citations from VocalLink. Right, he did work with VocalLink. But this pounds it all home about him, in my opinion, being the culprit behind Fednow. And if you haven't seen that deep dive, I'll put it at the very end of this particular video outline, just in case you're new and you haven't seen it, or just in case maybe you didn't have time to see it before. Again, if you don't have time to watch it all at once, you can hit pause, come back to it later, watch it 2x speed, whatever the case be. Watch it, learn why this is important. As we get more into this, check this out. Finally, to the Ripple segment, right? Look what it says. Recently, September 10, 2024, Ripple confirms Fednow's network effects will transform payments and boost XRP. More importantly, Ripple Labs believes the Federal Reserve's Fednow system will benefit from XRP, and the company, through XRP and XRP Ledger, is fighting for market share in the global payment ecosystem. In a recent release, American technology company Ripple Labs confirmed that Fednow's network effects will transform payments and boost, you read that right, XRP. So Fednow, is it likely to use XRP as a catalyst? Some people have asked that. We made those connections in the past. Shout out to Rue Black. We did a live show about this, right, last year. But for context, Fednow is an instant payment service, as we know, launched by the United States Federal Reserve, of course, last year. With its competitive pricing, enhanced speed, and integrated fraud management features, and think about that, right? Remember how we always talk about Quant authorized and stuff like that? Is expected to revolutionize the United States payment landscape. And more importantly, we're in 2024, so trends in regional payments. Ripple mentioned that networking effects associated with the adoption of Fednow will begin to take effect within the following year. Okay, the following year as in coming up in 2025? Interesting. The firm expects the phenomenon to disrupt the payment scene in America and ultimately pave the way for increased, yeah, that's what we all want to see, XRP adoption. This whole concept, price don't move much. Of course it's not. We're not at full scale mass adoption. Everything takes time. Remember, even with BTC, the price back in 2009, 2010, was it at the crazy prices it's at now? No. And look at the adoption, of course, of BTC. Again, slower technology, but that has mass adoption for the most part. So here's the other thing I want to point out. XRP adoption grows. Ripple claims network effects will be persuaded to clients to use, of course, Ripple network over the Swift network. This could further help Ripple expand its business and, of course, to use the XRP for cross-border transactions. We know that, but as highlighted, they point out from this particular citation, Ripple partner Volante Technologies collaborated with a prominent custodian bank to carry out Fednow's pilot. I want to point that out because, again, Rue and I last year pointed out some of these key things. So this is obviously aging well, but let's take you over to something that's a little bit more, I guess you could say, worth also pointing out, because people want some other things that will bring it all together. Ripple joins Open Payments Coalition from Finaxtra.com. And of course, that was posted in 2020. But what's important here? Well, it's important to understand that, like it says, in the near future, a single global payment network will enable anyone to easily pay a person or business instantly. Right. What do you think that single global payment network is? Clearly, it is what's going on with Fednow, right? Obviously. As we get into the next part of this, here's a citation from Ripple, Trends in Regional Payments. And look what it mentions in regards to the evolving global payments landscape. It goes on to mention that Ripple is the leader in enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, transforming how the world moves, manages tokens, and stores value. More in particular, Ripple's business solutions are faster, more transparent, and more cost-effective, solving inefficiencies that have long defined the status quo. And of course, as we go further down from here, this is something that really caught my attention because I cover the BRICS nations, do I not? So Brazil is part of the B in BRICS. Travelex Bank taps into blockchain for payments. And this is really interesting. It says, as the first specialized exchange bank to be approved by the Central Bank of Brazil, Travelex Bank emerged as a pioneer, back to that statement about being a pioneer financial institution in Latin America using blockchain solutions for cross-border payments. Say what you want, whereas LACchain with Quant or Ripple with XRP, you can understand that the two have a common goal. And it's basically what? They want to leverage each other. But for this example, Travelex Bank in Brazil is going to leverage Ripple Payments, a cross-border payment solution powered by blockchain technology. Now, I have to go ahead and jump into this real quick because there's going to be at least one Yahoo, no offense to you if you're that Yahoo, that's going to say, well, yep, I'm done watching this nonsense. It just says Ripple. It doesn't say XRP. You sure about that? Because guess what? I'm always ahead of people when it comes to that. Because guess what? It also says, literally plain as day, right here. Yeah, that's right. It says that they're going to realize a more sustainable global economy, and they're going to increase access to inclusive and scalable financial systems while leveraging carbon neutral blockchain technology and green digital asset. Yeah, XRP. Okay, so, let's just get that out of the way. More importantly, as we get more into this particular PDF, what does it say in regards to Fednow? It says straight from this particular same PDF that with modernized payment systems and financial services, well, we're gaining traction, everybody. And even across North America, as standardized messaging, secure data exchange, and interoperability take shape. Here we examine how open banking, Fednow, and even ISO 222 have contributed to streamlining the financial landscape, of course, in this region. And constant references about Fednow and instant payments, and also Fednow in regards to the launch and impact, and of course Fednow and more of that adoption. But again, how is XRP playing its role in all of it? Well, you got to keep in mind it's that enhanced accessibility, that enhanced global competitiveness, that improved efficiency, and how institutions will need to invest in improved tech stacks to support the demands of generated or that are generated by real-time payments. Right. XRP, it's always been there, always will be, but got dramatically suppressed, unfortunately, due to what? The whole concept of what the SEC did. All right, this is becoming quite the deep dive. That's how it is sometimes. But constructiontrader.eth at C_traders. Been a while since I also given him a reference. Shout out to some of these brothers in the community that have paved the way many years ago for other people like myself and so on. Listen to what William Lavelle from the Bank of England is describing here. Without a doubt, here's your first boil it, mash it, stick it, and stew moment. The payment service provider will be XRP, Ripple XRP. The API layer is Q&T Overledger. Act accordingly. Now, of course, even with Q&T, you got the whole thing of, Bank of England and the CBCs and so on. So in reality, I think it's both. But who says you have to own just one? So here's the point. Will you act accordingly? I know I have. And if anything, I still have my goals. And I keep increasing those goals. What are you doing? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but what are you doing? All right, let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll come back here in about 3 minutes. Here we go.
So in terms of how it all works in practice and how I get my hands on some CBDC, at the moment, if I want cash, I don't go to the central bank and ask you for some cash. I go to an ATM and withdraw it from my bank account, and putting aside, the logistics of what is actually happening in that transaction. I think, the key point there is that the commercial banks basically act as the distribution channel for cash. So what role will commercial banks and other private sector actors play in the distribution of the CBDC in the future? Because I think, often a misconception is that the issuance of a CBDC will turn central banks into basically direct banks to the public, and you are going to hire teams of thousands and thousands of people who will be opening bank accounts and doing KYC and AML and things like that. And that's not necessarily the case. So how will that kind of market infrastructure look in practice?
So we are proposing at the moment what we call a platform model. And the way that this will work is that the underlying ledger that records the transactions and records how much money everyone has got will be operated by the Bank of England. So you will have that safe and secure settlement underpinning it in the same way that we print banknotes at the moment. We will then surface that through actually a new type of entity called a payment infrastructure service provider, or PISP. Now, payment infrastructure service providers will provide people with wallets that allow them to access their CBDC and probably other features as well. It's a new type of entity. Certainly banks can and probably will opt to be PISPs, payment infrastructure service providers, but also technology companies as well. Because the important thing there is that the PISPs aren't exposed to the deposit taking and the credit risks that an ordinary bank might be. So it actually opens up a broader spectrum of people who might become involved in this ecosystem. I think the other thing as well to understand about it is it allows us to have a diverse range of types of wallets and types of products. And it's a bit of a learning from distributing physical cash as well. Certainly how we do it in the UK, of getting people to do the thing that they are good at. So I think you will, if you were to see an iPhone app that I had developed, I am actually an application developer, it probably wouldn't be very good, because that's not what I get out of bed to do. I get out of bed to do that safe and secure settlement thing. So we will have the central bank doing the thing that we're good at. We're going to expose that through an API layer. And then we want to have a diverse ecosystem that can support different types of use cases, because different people will want to use this product in different ways, we think, and create that sort of rich experience that we're looking for, and also to drive that innovation through.
So let's just have some, a moment of clarity, okay? He said PISP with a P, right? PISP. Not the other thing that you're thinking of, okay? I know. When I first heard it, I was like, what? I was just like, so, yeah, he's going to PISP all this on-demand liquidity and all over the place, man. He's going to PISP it everywhere. All right, we got to have a little fun, all right? Anyway. All right, let's get into this next part of what we have. It's good stuff, right? Like I said, you got to have a little fun. If you can't have any fun, what are you doing, right? So, again, let's just jump into a little bit more of why this is important. Here's another one. Shout out to Zavin. He's a guy that follows me on this channel. I follow him on his X. And Zavin, the rapper, has this for you guys. So, again, back to the whole thing of XRP, QNT. In this example, he says, listen carefully. To all my XRP and XLM holders, I love them both. I do too. But I had some Ripple fans in my DM saying last video is inaccurate, but Overledger will in fact sit on top of the interledger protocol. Listen carefully. And yeah, I want to pound this home for you guys too, because there's a lot of false misconceptions out there. So let's go ahead and play this. Only 2 minutes. We'll come right back for the tail end of the outline. Here we go.
Overledger being compatible with things like IOTA's Tangle network or Hashgraph and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever the underlying chain is, if it's IOTA, if it's Gollum, if it's Neo, if it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, Hyperledger, Interledger, everything. So whatever the underlying chain is, we're going to sit on top of it and have the on-ramps to it, so to be able to talk, read and write to each chain. So yes, it will be compatible to current and future blockchains. I mean, there could be a new blockchain next year, which no one knows about now, that's being invented. We'll just build the connector, the on-ramp into it, be able to make the best use of that new blockchain. Yeah, it's more than decentralized, it's multi-chain. So it doesn't just sit across all the nodes in Ethereum or all the nodes in Neo or Hyperledger or whatever. It sits across all the nodes on all the blockchains.
Why not benefit from all blockchains? And so what we've done with Overledger, it's an operating system that sits on top of existing first generation blockchains, second generation blockchains, nth generation blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and it allows you to connect seamlessly without giving you any extra overhead, without giving you any extra consensus or cost, because it's facilitating that data transfer between networks. We're connecting and bridging networks and allowing you to do something quite unique to create new multi-chain applications, not distributed applications, multi-chain applications. So if you think about it a bit more, we're kind of like what Microsoft did. If Microsoft in the 90s made Windows to be internet-based and put Windows OS on top of the internet to create internet apps, that's what we're doing today.
Right. That's what we're doing today. So I wanted to share that great clip, right, from Zavin. Shout out to Zavin. All right. I think I have a little bit more to pound at home. I do. And let's go ahead and also pull this up. I know this is quite the outline, but hopefully you guys are still listening along. What do we have from here? Well, like you see in the citation from the Internet Engineering Task Force, you see here HSBC API.overledger.hsbc.com and /lending. And what does it say? You have quant/API.gateway1/ or I should say .com/TradeLens. And what you also see here is quant/API.gateway1.com/Ripple, right? These rules would allow a client so identified to access resources directly, for example, and boom, there you go. So, you know, it's all there. It's definitely all there. All right. We did talk about Fiserv, okay? So we talked about BNY Mellon earlier. What about Fiserv? Check this out. This gets really good because some people want to point out the competition and all this stuff, right? Well, look at this. This is good. Soline Justice, if I'm pronouncing this right. This lovely lady, cited from the Quant Network. Why is this important? Well, look what it says. Soline joined us, not like anybody else, us, as in the Quant Network, back in September 2022 to build Quant's product marketing capability and help prepare their products for commercialization. With wide-ranging marketing experience and qualifications, Soline works with commercial, product, technical, and sales and marketing teams to ensure that we, as in Quant Network, clearly communicate and deliver value to their customers. With almost a decade of experience in the fintech industry, Soline had worked in banking, software as a service, look at that, and payments for Fiserv and Ant Group. She holds a board sitting at a professional women's not-for-profit organization in Luxembourg as a partnerships director. Soline has dual citizenship, Brazilian, remember how we talked about Brazil earlier, and British, and she could trace her ancestry to 26 world populations. My God, what an impressive lady. All right, check this out. I'm going to also take you to this next particular part because I think this is good. I definitely think this is good. So let's take you over to here. And what do we have here? We have a citation here. And in this citation, this comes from ISSA Global Corporate Action Principles. Why is this important? Because what you're about to see here is, it says there is a number of initiatives in train to create universal token standards, including the Token Taxonomy Initiative by Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which aims to create a DLT neutral token definition. Ripple is building an interledger protocol designed to facilitate token transactions between separate DLT networks or tokenization platforms. R3 has developed a system that allows applications built on its platform to interact seamlessly with other DLT systems. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, has created a new technical committee, and boom, another boil it, mash it, stick in a stew moment, because what does it say? TC 307. Yes, whose brief is to create cross-industry DLT standards, starting with foundational work on a common terminology and reference architecture. Boom. Wow. That also aged very, very well. As we get more into this, what do you also see here? Cited from Gilbert Verdian. Gilbert Verdian, founder of Quant, analyzes impact of tokenization and CBDCs could have on the banking system. Does he mention anything about BNY Mellon from the citation earlier? He does. This year, we've seen many Tier 1 banks rapidly accelerate the blockchain and distributed ledger technology strategies. The strongest trend is within capital markets, as financial institutions like custody banks actively tokenize assets like funds, equities, bonds, credit, mortgages, and real estate. BNY Mellon, State Street, and Northern Trust will have taken steps forward in this area. Why? Because of institutional demand from asset and fund managers. Think about that. The shift towards asset tokenization. All right, here's another citation. This is from FinTech Times. Why is this important? Look at this. This is good. Because some people are wondering, what's America going to do? America is going to enable domestic cross-border stablecoin payment and banking functionality. And what does it say underneath that? Quote, the adoption of tokenized money will be guided by maturing regulations and harmonized international standards, such as ISO TC 307, the Quant network standard. Quote, look at this. It will be a world where cash is private money and will coexist with secure interoperable CBDCs and commercial stablecoins that will offer significant benefits to consumers, privacy, financial inclusion, programmability, meeting the needs of today's digital society. How do you say quant without saying quant? Shout out to Channing. Give him a follow. If you saw my last particular deep dive video, the guy that we're talking about who is mentioned at the end, Channing, your answer, right? Well, he's the guy that you should go back and follow. Channing Harral, or Harrell, excuse me, Harral. Type that in, Channing Harral. Go to his channel. He's going to be making Q&T content once again. All right, jumping back into the material. What do we have here? Sometimes people want to see if there's any citation in regards to the law. Yeah, Georgetown law technology. Shout out to my cousin Damien, right? Lives in Brooklyn, New York, but guess where he went to school? He went to Georgetown. And when he was a freshman, believe it or not, Allen Iverson was his teammate. When Allen Iverson was a junior, right before he left to go join the Philadelphia 76ers. Anyway, long story. So look what we have. 307 here. And more importantly, look what it says. Right from Georgetown Law, everybody. With the rise of fintech, a global effort is underway to create universal standards for seamless, transparent, and secured electronic commercial transactions based upon the blockchain distributed ledger technology. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, an independent non-governmental international organization that develops what standards in response to global challenges, has established a technical committee, ISO TC 307, to develop voluntary standards for the use of distributed ledger technology in national and international trade in goods. The work of ISO TC 307 under the leadership of Standards Australia commenced in Sydney, Australia. April 3rd through 5th, 2017, the United States, Canada, China, Germany, Japan, and Russia, again, there's a BRICS country, are among 17 participating ISO members, while Argentina, Iran, Israel, South Africa are among 17 observing ISO members. And the last statement, the results of the ISO TC 307 will greatly impact the evolution, you read that right, of blockchain distributed ledger technologies as a viable record keeping component in national and internal supply chain management of energy transactions. My goodness, energy transactions? Now we're getting a whole other ball game, are we not? All right, look at this a little bit more, because I mentioned BNY on the same document, because we just cited ISO TC 307. What do you also see? On February 28, 2017, Blockchain Technology Consortium, known as the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, was launched by a diverse group of multinational businesses and software developers, including Accenture, Banco Santander, BlockApps, BNY, and Mellon. Again, BNY Mellon's position when it comes to what, everybody? Fednow. That's why I keep citating this for you. That way we take the past of the beginning of the outline to the present of where we're at in this outline. And then to pound it home even more in regards to BNY, Shanghai International Blockchain Week, there were 600 plus global leaders and experts, and they contributed to the vision of the future of blockchain. But what do you see plain as day in regards to the original ideas from financial experts? You see Alex Batlin, the innovation director of BNY Mellon, also at that particular event. And here's where it also gets good, because you have Craig Dunn also at this particular event, because he is part of ISO TC 307. He was a chairman, or should say still is. And like it says, at the blockchain trend analysis from regulators and organizations heads, you have Craig Dunn, again, part of the committee of ISO TC 307 blockchain. Well, what blockchain, or if anything, what would that be? Quant's Overledger, right? So I thought that was also very well worth pointing out, because it leads us also to this. And here's where it gets really, really good, really interesting. So he's been a non-executive director and chairman since 2023 for a company called Telstra. Craig Dunn has more than 20 years experience in financial services. He was the chief executive and managing director of financial services firm AMP from 2008 to 2013. He worked at Colonial Mutual Group from 91 to 2000. And more importantly, again, chairman of the Australian government's FinTech Advisory Group and the International Standards Committee on Blockchain Distributed Ledger Technologies, ISO TC 307. He's also a board member of each of the New South Wales Government Financial Services Knowledge Hub and jobs of the New South Wales, and member of an ASIC External Advisory Panel and the New South Wales Government Advisory Panel. My God, like tons of connections. But look at this. Mr. Dunn is a consultant to King and Wood Mallesons. Now you may be wondering, like, man, you're sharing like way too much information, you know? Well, that's what I do. And look what we have. Go to kwm.com. Here's the significance about this. Big time. Because when you go here, it says this particular committee group strengthens the United States presence with new partnership appointment. And Asia's, here's the thing, excuse me, I went ahead. These guys, King and Wood Mallesons, are Asia's top tier international law firm. Think about that. They're continuing to strengthen its United States practice with the promotion of intellectual property. How many times have you heard Mr. Larry Fink of BlackRock talk about intellectual property being tokenized? So this guy that represents ISO TC 307 is connected to this? And we haven't had talk about Gilbert Verdian lately when it comes to policy? Yeah, I can see how this comes full circle. Because again, if you're wondering about some of this stuff, well, talks about this whole thing of IP. And that's what I want to point out to you guys, because this guy says that he's an accomplished lawyer with 18 years experience in IP litigation. Now, I want you to think about that for a second, because when it comes to IP litigation, well, IP means intellectual property. And IP litigation is a legal process, everybody, that protects and defends the rights to intellectual property, such as what? Trademarks, patents, copyrights, trade secrets. IP litigation can be a powerful tool, as we know, for businesses to enforce the rights to sell and market their intellectual property. So I think that was a big deal. And then to wrap it up, just in case you're not fully aware of them, again, back to another citation from Wikipedia. They're the largest international law firm, again, in Asia Pacific. They have 26 offices, more than 3,000 legal professionals across Australia, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, and even the United States. And again, prior to KWM's current structure, its predecessor firms included S.J. Berwin of the United Kingdom's Silver Circle. I don't know if you guys know about some of this stuff. as well as part of what is called the Big Six in Australian law firms. So they're a huge deal, and they date back all the way to 1832. My goodness. So that's the deep dive. Went a little bit too far on this particular one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you can, just do me a favor, like I mentioned before, and that is, if you listen to this entire outline, simply type into the comments this, and that is GV, as in Gilbert Verdian, and I will know that you listen to the outline. I always appreciate you guys listening to these deep dives. The saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. We will see you on the next one.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. Say goodbye to complicated setups and hello to Decent Wallet, the hassle-free solution to your digital currency needs. With just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.